Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's, Nickelodeon's, Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles SAVANTI ROMERO, which is some kind of goat monster guy, and I'm guessing it's play on the Romero guy who makes horror movies when Eastman and Laird created this guy. I don't know. I don't know anything about this character, never heard of him, never saw him before. But NECA included it when they sent me some review samples, so I'm going to review it. I'm going to put this out there right now, just so that you guys are aware of my biases. I hate this character design a lot. I can't stand the way this character looks. Doesn't do a thing for me. However, NECA still made it an appealing action figure somehow by putting in all kinds of effort and detail on a figure that probably most people haven't heard of for the character, and a figure that most people probably aren't going to buy. NECA still went balls out and made a really nice release. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we get into the figure, let's take a quick look at the package. It is one of their more basic packages, it doesn't have the flaps or anything, just the angular window, which is nice. A little bit of artwork down here, a little bit of artwork back here, and actually it looks like NECA's figure has more detail than this. I do like the heavier black on here though. And then the photos back here, they used a green light in their photos, and I don't think it was a good idea. I mean, I get why they did it, the glowing effect parts, so to speak, but it just made the colors not look nice, if you ask me. But there's the packaging right there. Okay, so also I just want to point out, NECA sends me a lot of review samples, and I don't have to say anything I don't want to ever, and that's always been the case. If you don't believe me, go check out some of my reviews where I said the figures were really bad. There have been a few, not a lot, thankfully, and that's probably why NECA is okay with me being honest, because they know they make good stuff. But I definitely don't have to like things they send me. I've definitely not been nice to a lot of a handful of figures at least. Okay, so let's do a question of the day. Does this character design appeal to you as much as it appeals to me? Which is to say 0? Let me know what you guys think. Gosh, I hate this design. The only thing worse than this is probably the Alien Resurrection mother alien. What was it called? The baby? It was the baby, but it was also like, I don't know what it was the newborn. That's what it was called, the newborn alien. Anyway, here he is up against Darwin, a little bit taller. We'll do a height measurement. He stands, not counting the horns, because we're just going to go to his head for scale, about 6 3/4, just about. It's going to be roughly 17.5 centimeters. All right, we already got the other stuff out of the way. Let's talk aesthetics. Obviously, a lot of all new sculpt. All new sculpt. NECA does that a lot. Other companies say they can't do sculpts, they can't do paints. It's just not possible without costing too much. NECA's doing it all the time. They don't charge that much more, and considering they have everything that people are asking for in terms of sculpt, paint, and accessories, seems doable. Alright, so sculpt-wise, they did the fur. Very nicely done. Good paint job. I guess these black spots are supposed to be there, because they seem intentional. I don't know if it's like shading, I don't know what it is, but they're there. But the brown paint job is very nice. They did paint the hooves. That's nice. The arms have a very nice flesh tone with some nice shading on there. Very good. I like that. They use a warmer, darker color. That's how you do flesh tone shading. It looks very nice. It brings it to life. I like that a whole bunch. The black line work for the hair is very comic-esque on the forearms. Then we have the comic style shading throughout, which looks pretty nice. I would like them to go a lot heavier on that for the comic figures, but still looks good. His little shoulder spikes are well painted. This is clean, very clean. Very nicely done, I like it. And then even his face, which is repulsive to me, very well executed, very, very clean, very nice. His horns have shading on them and the black line work. They seem like they would be bendy. They are not. Don't go too far or you will probably break them. But they're not like fragile, so that's okay. But yeah, very, very nicely detailed for what it is. Again, going against my biases here to say they did a wonderful job executing this in a very nice way. It looks great. The nice matte finish helps so much. Matte for the skin, maybe even flat for the skin, matte here. Looks good. I like their execution of this horribly ugly thing. Aesthetically speaking, 9 out of 10, really, really good. For accessories, we have the 2 fist hands that come out in the package. We get 2 gripping hands and then 2 style pose hands. That's pretty good. You do get this green flame effect. There's no shading on it, which is unfortunate, because it's a pretty cool sculpt. I like the flame, and the way it snaps onto the hand is superb. We've had so many fireball holding accessory type things for Marvel Legends, and they have never snapped on or looked this appropriate on the figure. I love that. It's wonderful, other than the lack of any shading at all. It is just opaque neon lime green. That's unfortunate, but it's a very well sculpted piece, so I like that. And then you do get his stick of doom, where I think it's like a hand holding a cell phone or something like that. It's not, but it's nicely detailed. There's a lot of shading in the hand. That looks cool. I like that. Then you get this green effect part that snaps onto it. Make it look like it's got bubbles and stuff. Bubbling energy around it. I don't know. But very well painted, well executed. I think maybe these two parts should have been transparent plastic instead of solid. But I guess since they're going for the comic look, they didn't want to do that. So then, in which case, I think they should have done black lines instead of shading just straight black lines. But still, that's a pretty good spread of accessories. And for all of you McFarlane fans out there, they did include a big display stand, which is actually sizable, so the figure can actually stand on it, and it'll hold him up, rather than just being the size of his foot. There you go, black display stand. Accessory-wise, 8 out of 10. Some hands, some accessories. Oh, stand, that's fine. You don't need the stand. I mean, I have him balanced a little bit from when I had him on the rotating stand a second ago. But yeah, he can definitely do it. This is with me doing it fully extended with my arms. Let's see if I can get him to balance. There you go. It's fine. It's not like he can't. His legs are not super fragile or anything, so it's okay. But you get to stand if you want. All right, as for articulation, I haven't touched this guy other than to bend his knees to get him to stand. Let's see how it works. I'm guessing it's a double ball peg at the neck. Oh, he can look up nicely. That's good. He can't go down any farther, I guess because of his jaw. Leaning side to side works nicely. Rotation is fine. It feels like it could just be a single, but you get decent range. It's not the most we've ever seen, but it'll do. His mouth does open, and if you lift his head up enough, you can open it even farther to see his two little teeth up there. There you go. That's pretty good. For the shoulders, you get your rotation. This is soft. It's PVC, but it's not super soft, so you don't want to be mushing it too hard, but you can see it will flex. So you get your full rotation. Arms a little bit loose in the socket. You can bring the shoulders up fairly high considering he has spikes. Almost to horizontal. Hasbro couldn't figure that out with their mindless one. These guys did it with spikes, so that's pretty good. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow works nicely. That's a pretty good joint for a relatively thick guy. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. That's all fine. Diaphragm joint on this guy. Leans back a little bit, not a ton. Leans forward a little bit, not a ton. And then side to side, same thing. A little bit of rotation there. More rotation down here at the waist. Not like you really need both, but you do have it if you want it. So there's that. Hips are standard ball socket. Not going to really be able to see in there. It's like a flat black. Just eats the light. But you can see somewhat standard ball socket. They're not loose, so that's good. This is a nice transition here. I like the way they added the fur up here to hide that joint. Works nicely. You're going to get pretty much out there. It's not full on splits, but it's pretty good. Obviously, this will be in the way. But you can bring the legs out to the side going forward. It flexes enough that he doesn't have a ton of range, but it's not bad. He'll be able to pose somewhat. Going back is actually pretty good, surprisingly good, so that's all right. Thigh swivel is built into the joint up there, so you get decent thigh swivel, not the best. Single jointed knee goes that far back. It's not really digitigrade the way they sculpted this. It's more like, well, I guess it is right here. The knees are mostly sculpted like regular human style knees, plantigrade knees, but then they have this extra lump here that lets it look like it has a little bit more to it, more going on, which is pretty clever. It's pretty good. Then the ankles just have all the range you could want for however you want him to stand. So that's all right. Problem with the ankle though is they did put the peg in there for the ankle rocker. It's very vertical in this part, so you're not going to have any ankle rocker to speak of. It's just going to basically spin the foot just a little bit, give you just the tiniest little bit of an edge there. Just spread his legs out and pose him a little bit dynamically. It can be done. There you go. I just kind of threw him down there and adjusted a little bit. He can definitely stand on his own. As you see though, he'll fall if you're not a little bit more careful with your balancing. But yeah, the ankles work okay. I think they should have sunk this down a little bit farther into the foot so that the peg could go forward a little bit and give you a better ankle rocker. But it's all right. So his articulation, it's about what you would expect. It's going to be sufficient, but nothing special, nothing extra good. You'll be able to pose him well enough, and he's going to look good doing it because the figure looks good and he has good accessories. So articulation-wise, it's going to get like, I'll give it a 7. It's not the worst thing we've seen. Even for one of NECA's stylized figures, it's still pretty well articulated, I would say. It's not impressive, though. All right, time for the final verdict. Really still don't like the character design, but if I did, I would be happy with this figure. They executed on the aesthetic very well. The accessories are perfectly satisfactory, and same thing with the articulation. There's nothing crazy with the accessories this time. There's nothing crazy in the articulation, but it's perfectly fine, and the figure looks damn good, at least the way they executed the character. So yeah, I would be happy. So I'm gonna give this guy an overall rating of, I'm gonna say 8.5. A little bit lacking in accessories, and we do have some articulation limitations that we don't need to have, but it is definitely a solid release, and if you're into this sort of thing, you should track it down. So there it is. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos every single day, except for Wednesday, though I think for the end of the year, we might have some top 10s popping up on Wednesdays, so keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, so if you haven't done that, you should subscribe, and you should keep coming back for all those other good things. And in the meantime, keep collecting.